Welcome to our Neuroplasticity and Creativity workshop. When we talk about neuroplasticity and creativity, you may think like there is no correlation here. But the truth is that creativity is not only a tool that creatives can use to come up with solutions. So, how can you change the structure of your brain and create new connections between cells? Well, with creativity, or at least that's one way. Let me show you. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Ro Fernandez. I am the CEO and co-founder at Nova. I spend my entire life helping teams and organizations innovate and take advantage of their collective intelligence inside and outside the organization. I have a background in design, market research, customer behavior with a big focus on how our brain works. You can find me on LinkedIn or follow Nova on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, or any of our social media. I am really excited to be here today. One reason is because I love understanding how the brain helps us make decisions, but mostly because this is an exciting day. We are celebrating the World Creativity and Innovation Week, and I wanted to say thank you to Creatific and the World of Creativity and Innovation Week organization for supporting this event. But mostly, I wanted to say thank you for joining us today. So this is your brain. Your brain is a very complex system. We have over 100 billion neurons in our brains. And these neurons need to talk one to another for our brains to be able to react to the information that we receive from our sensory system. Our brain is designed to help us move our body, mostly, and to think. But the way the brain is designed is all about energy preservation and efficiency. Our brain creates a network of associations based on the things we use, on the things that make us succeed and survive over and over again. So think about you when you choose to go to a supermarket. You probably go to the same ones because you already know where to find things, what products to buy, where you can find those products. And that's basically how our brains work. Going to a new supermarket will take some extra time and effort to find those things like ketchup or your favorite vegan yogurt. So the brain is working the same way. It's choosing to go through the same pathways to make sure it's efficient and works fast and can make decisions faster. So let's get a better understanding of this. The brain creates pathways and thinking systems so it can use its energy efficiently. The more we do something, the faster it happens and it becomes an habit. And that is how we master some of our skills. But the more we use the same path, the less likely we are to adapt, to be creative, to accept new ideas and perspectives. And the harder it gets for our dendrites to make new connections so we can expand our perspective, our mental models, letting us build new pathways. But mostly, we want to be able to help our brains to change its physical structures and change the connections between our cells and its function in response to our mental experience. And that is neuroplasticity. When we talk about neuroplasticity, is the property of the brain that allows it to change its physical structure and function in response to a mental experience, like thinking, imagining, etc. Okay, so let's check out a neuron. Yeah, this is a neuron. You have, as I say, a billion more than 1 billion neurons in your brain. As you see, this is a neuron with dendrites, the axon, and the nerves endings. The dendrites act as ears and are connected to around 10,000 neurons. That's not a joke. The nerves endings act as a mouth. Think as if the dendrites act as ears and can hear what another neuron has to say. Okay, so the information enters from here and, like in an electrical wave, comes out from here and sends the information to the next neuron. Got it? Okay, so even, and this is important, so even when the information is not that exciting and the neurons have nothing to say, that neuron is in an active and intentional process to stay negative charged relative to the outside. So, without going into too much detail, let's look at a few neurons working together. Okay, so you can see neuron 1, 2, and 3. They have certain information and they want to send that information to other neurons. Here you can see a very simple interpretation, and in this scenario, the neuron C is the one with a complete picture of a face. If we look at this map, we see the associations we are making. So when our five senses perceive certain information, our brain immediately recognizes what that is and how to react. When this information is relevant and the path in our brain is well traveled and is reliable, a reliable path, the more it's inclined to follow that path again. So when neuron 1, 2, and 3 chooses this path, a direct path to C, this is the path that is often gonna be chosen to make that decision. All right. So when you are not in a learning state, by default, your brain is going over and over through the same pathways. Our brain does this with absolutely everything, with the objective of energy preservation, and that is how you build your individual perceptions. Your capacity to make associations, metaphors, how you build your cognitive biases, and how you recognize symbols. An interesting thing in here is something that was introduced by Edward de Bono, the concept of the logic bubble. In his book Future Positive, as the individual perception which guide our actions in a rational way. This logic bubble that our brain has built for us is at the same time having negative effects in our ability to change the connections between ourselves. So why is creativity essential and have such a positive impact in our neuroplasticity? Well, creativity helps us link two unrelated things outside our logic bubble and create a new net of connections. So going back to the face example, you can see that Picasso thought that faces could be recognized even breaking some of the rules. So to show you how your perspective and cognitive biases affect your ability to think logically, even you think you are thinking rationally, I invite you to answer this question. But of course, if you already know the answer, I will ask you to give everyone else some time to think. A man and his son are in a car accident. The father dies on sight, but the child is rushed to the hospital. When he arrives, the surgeon said, "I can operate this boy. He's my son. How can this be? I invite you to turn your mics on, think about it, use your creativity to answer this question. And if you already know the answer, just give everyone else a little bit of time to think.
And the sun is alive. Maybe the father, maybe it's a alternative reality. They're like in heaven or something where he's saying goodbye to his son and he's supposed to operate on him. Maybe it's a gay they're gay parents and there's two fathers and the father is the surgeon the second father? I'm not sure.
Because the surgeon is the mom.
Yeah, good job. Everyone knew this. So, our brain was creating associations. And this is an example of how our logic bubble can limit our ability to not only nurture our neuroplasticity, but also the ability to see the right answer. Creativity, in fact, is not a tool to just come up with crazy ideas. Instead, creativity gives us the opportunity to tell our brain, hey, wait a moment, maybe you can see the whole picture here. Let's think outside ourselves and outside the box. And let's have the opportunity to question our own logic. Okay, so let's go to the gym. Let's practice some lateral thinking techniques so you can block some of your well established network of associations and quickly learn new tools that you can use daily to create a new network of associations and help your brain expand not only its creative abilities but mostly its neuroplasticity. And as if you go to the gym to train your muscles, you will train your brain to expand your logic bubble and learn how to create a new network of associations. So here are 5 tools that you can use alone or with your team. And I will explain this quickly, and we will be using one of these ones during our workshop. All right, so the first one is a funny one. The name is Toloposogo. Probably if you don't have a Spanish accent, you will say this a little bit different. But this tool was developed by Edward de Bono. It's very similar to the 6 thinking hats. Both can be found inside Nova, but I recommend reading the book, Teach Yourself to Think. And I'm going to explain it a little bit in a second. The next one is How Meet We. The third one is the SCAMPER. And the fourth one is Wild Associations. This one you probably heard about it or tried before. Maybe you didn't know the name. And the last one is the Chinese portrait. So let's check it out. So, all right. So, Toloposogo. Teach Yourself to Think from Edward de Bono. So, to is where you describe the objective. You start with to always. Describe the objective. Where are you going? And then after that, you will go and look for facts. So, law. Law is where you look for the facts. Po is where you look for the possibilities. So is where you question your ideas. And go is where you take actions. The best part of this tool is that you can use it individually or with your team. It provides a very simple system to help you think. If you don't know exactly how to use it, you can create a free account on Nova. you have all these tools, and I think we have over 200 tools inside Nova. You will find it there, and we provide a step-by-step process so everyone knows how to use all these methodologies and tools. So moving on to the next one, how meet we? This one is a very simple one. It's like a question used during design thinking, coaching, and creative sessions. This tool helps you create open questions so everyone can start brainstorming. The next one is SCAMPER. This one is one of my favorite ones. It provides seven different lateral thinking techniques, and it's perfect during the idea development phase. In this case, you can think about an idea or a product or a service, and you can follow these 7 challenges to think outside the box. Sometimes you start with an idea, an initial idea, or sometimes you start with things that already exist. So let's say you want to improve a product, you start with the product that you have right now, and then you go through this brainstorming session to come up with new ideas. So basically you follow these 7 lateral thinking techniques. The first one is substitute. You basically substitute a part of the product or idea. Combine, you have approximately the idea of combining or merging 2 ideas or 2 parts of the idea. You can adapt. So the goal in here is to tweak the idea a little bit, modify, make changes in the process, put to use the product or idea for a different purpose, and then you have eliminate and reverse. When you do this, you basically have a bunch of ideas that otherwise you will not come up with, because you are using lateral thinking to think about how to break the rules. We will be using this tool today, so I will explain this a little bit more later. The next one is while associations. While associations is a very easy to use tool. You can use it during a work session or while you are using a whiteboard. You can use our card decks. We have one called while associations, or you can create your own with words and pictures and use it during that brainstorming session. Basically, what you do, you start the brainstorming session with an idea, with a question, and basically you will choose random cards, add it to the board, and people will try to connect the initial idea with this word or with this picture. This will help you to think about new ideas that otherwise your brain will not be able to make those associations. It's called While Associations inside Nova, and you can find it inside card decks. And you can open this at any point inside a whiteboard or a work session. The next one is the Chinese portrait. The Chinese portrait is a tool that I personally use for advertising, logo development, and branding, but I also use it during our team building sessions. It's very easy to use. You can get a card deck during a meeting. You can use it while using a whiteboard or a work session. And if you are, for example, designing a new logo, let's say you will ask yourself, if our company was an animal, what animal will our company be? And everyone will have like 2 or 3 minutes to answer the questions and share why. And you could do that with a few cards. So you can gather more information about what are the characteristics of your brand and start imagining your logo. All these tools are available inside Nova. You can also create your own or edit the existing ones. All our tools are goal-oriented and provide a step-by-step process so you can always know how to use them and what to do. I will appreciate if we leave all the questions to the end and we move forward to the fun stuff. So let's open Nova and we will be using SCAMPER during this work session. See you there. So we will start with substitutes and everyone will think for 2 minutes a way to substitute part of these ideas, these current solutions, with something different. Okay, so we are replacing part of it.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Sorry, I was on mute. The current solution I was kind of going after was starting to provide more information to students on career choices. So a substitute would be sort of what Laura had mentioned about giving internships and more job experience in high school and different career paths to be able to experience it. But then taking it a little bit further, I thought instead of trying to educate kids on career choices more systematically, we could be thinking about reevaluating how as a society we look at careers. Instead of choosing the things that make the most money, we can restructure how we sort of educate students in general on, instead of making money, you're finding something that you're actually good at and that you enjoy. So yeah.
I was creating mine related with the work experience during high school. That to create some platforms where the students can connect with the company straight, like directly, and so then might be easier to connect with the company.
Okay.
So there is a platform where the company can already connect with the students. So.
And Laura?
Okay. I have mentor students. When you say working experience during high school, probably you're getting focused on the teachers and the students. Mentor students is more like someone outside the high school implicated in this process. Or exploring careers interest before work experience, so it's something that you should do before to send someone to have work experience with a company, no? So like looking for a good fit. Mm-hmm. If you know what are the interests of this person, maybe you can talk with the company and say, I have someone who wants to work with you, so you give it a chance, or kind of previous step. And again, it's educate companies and HR departments was related only with this one. It's like have a conversation with them and let them know how good it will be to have someone work there and know the company. Maybe they have become loyal employees. I don't know.
Yeah. First idea I had, I just combined stuff. So women mentors online who are doing things that they love and basically just teaching the other women in schools. But I think the more interesting one, what combination option is to combine classes with companies. So, making classes that are in partnership with companies. So much like you would sort of do in university, where you have a course that is basically working with a company. You could do that in high school. That's basically just in partnership with a company that a student is interested in.
Yeah. What I got here is I took some ideas from other people and put together, like find sustainable and eco-friendly companies that mentor students, like educate these students in these particular companies that get a focus on these sustainable, you know, and create info sessions with these students, or partner these students with these eco-friendly companies.
Hmm.
Or